Hello everyone and welcome back to JPTV. Today we are in my kitchen. I thought I would have a little fun today and show you guys my favorite rainy day recipes. It's going to be a full day of recipes. It's going to be lunch for me because I'm fasting, but it's a breakfast meal. My famous family biscuits and gravy. I hope you guys enjoy that. And then one of my favorite appetizers for a little afternoon snack, and then a crockpot dinner recipe that you're gonna absolutely love. It's totally scrumptious. And in between, I'm going to be taking down all my Christmas decorations and getting my house ready for the new year. So if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you choose to subscribe and click the notification bell and join my YouTube family, because here we do everything from fasting, exercise regimens, vlogs, cooking. I mean, you name it, we do it here. So thank you so much for coming, and let's go ahead and get into this video. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna be making is our crockpot pasta. It's called a creamy chicken rigatoni. Really excited about this recipe. Actually, I've never had it yet. I saw another YouTuber make it and it looked absolutely delicious, so I can't wait to try it. The reason I'm making this first before breakfast is because it's already noontime and it takes about 4 to 5 hours in the crock pot to cook. So as you guys just saw, I have all my ingredients laid out. I'm gonna throw in some stuff now, and then in about 3 hours, we'll throw in the pasta and some additional chicken broth. So let's get going. All right, guys, we got all of our ingredients laid out here. I'm getting ready to throw everything in there. It's kind of like a dump and go. So to start off, I'm going to go ahead and throw my chicken thighs into the crock pot. I'm starting with 4 to 5 chicken thighs just because they are a little bit smaller than chicken breasts. And I do not like chicken breasts. I feel like it's a little too dry, and so I love to use chicken thighs when I am cooking in the crock pot. Next, I'm going to go ahead and season it with Italian seasoning and some of my The Blend by Kinder. It's basically just garlic, salt, and pepper, and I'm just gonna give it a little mix here. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and add in this good seasoning Italian dressing powder. The recipe actually calls for the onion soup mix, which I am gonna use, but it also says if you don't like the onion soup mix, you can use the Italian soup mix or dressing mix. So I actually just did half of both because I like them both, to be honest. And then I'm doing 1/4 of a cup of butter, which is 4 tablespoons. And then after that, we're gonna go ahead and throw in the cream of chicken. It's just 1 can, you're gonna pour in the whole thing. Having a hard time getting it all out. All right, so next I'm gonna throw in some cream cheese. The recipe calls for a whole block of cream cheese, but for me, I feel like that's a little too much. So I'm just gonna do about 1/2 block, which is 1 big scoop. I'm gonna throw that in there. Now, after that, I'm gonna go ahead and throw in some heavy whipping cream. I'm gonna do about 2 cups. The recipe calls for 2 cups, and so because I prefer heavy cream over the cream cheese, I'm gonna go ahead and use the full recipe. All right, next I'm adding some fresh basil seasoning, and then I'm gonna go ahead and throw in some chicken broth. I'm gonna do about 1.5 cups now, and then later I'll add some more when we add in the pasta. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure that out here, and then lastly I'm going to top it with a splash of hot sauce. Coming up next, guys. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on it, and we're gonna let it sit for probably about 3 hours before I go ahead and add in the pasta. So yeah, I pretty much just guess, you guys, just a couple of dashes of hot sauce. And then we're gonna go ahead and stir it around and just mix it up really, really good before we put the lid on it. Okay, so now that everything is in the crock pot, that will be our dinner. I'm gonna get started on our breakfast. So my world famous biscuits and gravy. If you love biscuits and gravy, you have to try this recipe. I grew up eating this, I love it, and it is perfect comfort food for a cold, rainy day. So I'm gonna start first with putting my biscuits in the toaster oven, getting those going. Super simple, you guys. Like literally, I cook bacon first. I use the bacon grease to make the gravy, and then I'll be making some scrambled eggs, and it's gonna be like a super simple breakfast. And I haven't even had coffee yet, so I'm about to break my fast. It is, let's see how long I've been fasting. And I've been terrible with my fasting through the holidays. So I've been fasting for almost 19 hours. So excited about eating right now. I'm really, really hungry. So let's get the coffee brewing. And I'm ready. So I'm actually going to start with bacon. I am going to cut them in half just because I want to cook the gravy in the same pan that I made the bacon. And so I'm going to use a small, like a soup pan. And so my bacon's not going to fit in there. And I don't really care if my bacon pieces are big because to me it's not a big deal. So I'm just gonna cut this in half, and then I'm gonna throw it in here and just cook them in here so that way I can make the gravy in here. It's just me and my husband, so I don't need to make a lot of bacon anyway. We're just gonna make like that much. All right, so while the bacon's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and get the biscuits going. So next, I'm gonna be making some scrambled eggs. So my husband and I, we love our scrambled eggs creamy and not cooked all the way. The trick to making your scrambled eggs creamy is a little bit of sour cream and a tiny bit of mayo. If you don't like mayo, you can just use sour cream. If you don't like sour cream, but you like mayo, you can use just mayo. And it's just a tiny, tiny bit, you guys, and I'll show you right now. And then the second trick to making these great eggs is that you scramble them constantly, like you're constantly scrambling them, and you take them off of the fire about a minute before they're done, and you just let them finish cooking on a pan that's not on fire. So let's jump into this. Okay, so let's jump into making these eggs. Since it's just my husband and I, I'm just gonna make 5 eggs. So I'm gonna go ahead and just in here. It's seriously like that much, guys. Sour cream, a little spoonful of mayo, or a forkful. Not a whole lot. I think that's good for that many eggs. I'm just gonna stir it up. Biscuits are done. Don't want to overcook them. Maybe like a little bit. They're still a little doughy. All right, so let's move on over to the stove and get going with the eggs. Literally a slither. Gonna let that melt. All right, the batter is ready. I'm just gonna throw those in there. And like I mentioned earlier, you have to constantly be stirring because you don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan. And it's almost like you want them to be kind of not fluffy, like curdled almost, like small curds of eggs. You'll see what I mean as I go. Okay, so see how it's almost done? So now you're gonna turn off the fire and just kind of like finish it up here. See what I mean by it's kind of like not cooked all the way and like kind of mushed up. I don't even know how to describe it. All right, now that everything else is done, we're gonna get into this gravy. I had turned off the stove because it was super loud, so I had to turn it back on. So there is an art to this. So there's our bacon grease. It actually didn't make that much, but that's fine. You don't need that much. So pretty much it's super easy. Oh, sorry guys, camera. It's super easy, but at the same time there is an art to it because the flour, it gets chunky really quickly, and so you don't want to put too much flour, especially if there's not a lot of people. So there's only 2 of us. So you don't need to make a lot. Just let it warm up a little bit. So I'm using this slotted spoon. I know it has the things in the middle, but it's easy to stir with. So to start, honestly, you just need a little bit, like this much. And you just put it in the pan. And just start scraping up the scrapings on the bottom. And just like browning it. You know, I know a lot of people that like sausage gravy, which is a very southern thing. I just like plain gravy. I don't like sausage in mine. That's just me. But you can also make the same recipe with sausage. So you could do the sausage instead of the bacon, and then you use the sausage grease to make this. So you can do that. All right, so it's nice and browned. Then you start adding in milk, but very slowly. So just like slowly and stir that. Slowly. And it starts to get chunky right away. So you just got to keep adding milk. And I just keep adding until it's at the consistency that I want. So like right now, we're just going to go with that and just start mixing. And then as it thickens up, you just keep adding milk. And then you want to season it with salt and pepper kind of as you're going as well. I'm just going to do that at the end, you guys, because I don't want to make it too salty because bacon already has a lot of salt. So I'll just end up salting my own biscuits and gravy at the end. And then yeah, you just, I mean, it's that simple. You just keep stirring it. And adding milk as it gets too thick. Alright, I'm gonna put my gravy on there. It actually ends up looking like a brown gravy. Just because I think because I cooked my bacon a little long, I actually like my bacon cooked really well. So came out a little bit more brown than it usually does, but I'm telling you, it tastes delicious. All right, now it's time to dig in. Biscuits and gravy is my favorite breakfast. Like I have other great breakfast recipes that I will be sharing coming in the new year that are family passed down, that I grew up eating. My husband's watching soccer. But I want to show you guys biscuits and gravy first because it is my favorite comfort breakfast. comfort food breakfast, and when it's rainy and it's cold. Like, I don't know, there's something about it. Now I'm digging into it right now. When it's raining. I just love biscuits and gravy so much. So, as soon as I'm done eating my sauce, I'm going to start undecorating. You see I've got some of my Christmas house boxes out because I'm gonna start putting away all my Christmas decorations while the dinner is cooking in the crock pot. Like I mentioned, it's gonna take 4 to 5 hours. So we'll probably eat around 5 or 6. But in between, I made an appetizer for Christmas Eve, you guys. That was so good that I wanna make it for you guys on here and show you. Especially because New Year's Eve is tomorrow. So I'll actually be uploading this probably on New Year's Eve, or maybe even today if I'm able to edit and get it done. But you have to try it if you're having people over. It is a winner. It's like a cheese ball with crackers, so stay tuned. Okay, so it's been going almost 3 hours. Thought we would just kind of take a look. Ooh, look at that. Let's see if the chicken needs to be shredded. Okay, so I'm stirring it around a little bit. Yeah, the chicken's not ready to be shredded yet, but it's a good idea that we go ahead and mix it up a little bit. And in about 30 minutes, we're gonna throw in the pasta and some more chicken broth. Okay, so now we need to add the pasta while there's still a lot of liquid. So I'm gonna throw in, had like half of a box of rigatoni left, and then give that a stir. And then the recipe calls for Parmesan cheese, just a little bit. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm also gonna put some fresh Parmesan. It's actually almost gone. A little bit more chicken stock to cover for the pasta. I'm actually gonna add in some Better Than bouillon just to add a little bit more flavor because I use chicken bone broth and not chicken broth. Just give it a little bit of flavor. Mix it around, and then it also calls for Gouda, smoked Gouda, but I'm not really a fan. So instead of that, I thought to give it a little spiciness, I'm gonna add some pepper jack cheese. Just gonna throw in a couple slices of pepper jack. And the chicken will finish cooking with the pasta over the next hour. And then at the end, you can always add more Parmesan before you actually eat. All right, and I'm just gonna keep an eye on it and add more chicken broth if need be. I just don't wanna add too much because we don't want it to be like a soup. We want it to be a creamy pasta. All right, so we're gonna leave this for another hour and then we'll come back and check on it. Okay, next up, we are going to make that cheese ball appetizer that I was talking about. So it's only 4 ingredients. 1 Boursin cheese, fine garlic and herbs, panko, spicy honey sauce, and 1 egg. So let me turn my screen around so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so you wanna put some panko in a bowl. because you're going to be rolling the cheese ball in it. So I'm gonna put a little bit, and then we're going to add some Parmesan cheese. This panko is going to make the cheese ball have a crust around it, which is really, really good. I'm just going to mix it up, and then we're going to add some 21 seasonings. It's just a whole bunch of different types of seasonings. I'm also going to add my, I'm just trying to find it, some ranch seasoning. A little bit of pepper. I kinders the blend. Just gonna mix it all up. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and blend the egg. This is what we're gonna use to adhere the panko to the cheese. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take this out. We're gonna use the whole thing. This is really good, you guys, and you eat it with crackers, or you could do chips too, but I really liked it with crackers. Okay, first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna dip it in the egg to coat it really good. So on the bottom, top, and the sides. Just coat it really, really good. Then you're gonna move it to the panko and do the same thing. Get as much as you can. And then you're gonna roll it. And you may even have to just dump it on yourself. Just kind of pat it. Cook this or bake it for about 10 minutes in the same thing I use to make my biscuit, which is like my air fryer, oven, and toaster. And then when we're done, we'll sprinkle the spicy honey sauce on it, and that is it, you guys. It's that simple, and it's so good. It has become a fan favorite at my house. To make this so good. I'm not even hungry. I'm still full from breakfast, but I really want to show this to you guys, especially since tomorrow's New Year's Eve. It's the perfect appetizer. The spicy honey is what makes it. It's like salty and sweet. Oh my gosh, so good. So our pasta's almost done, as you guys saw. I had to add a little bit more chicken bouillon and some more pepper jack cheese to give a little bit more spice. But I think it's gonna be done in like 15-20 minutes. It's still early. It's only 4 o'clock and we probably won't eat till like around 6. So I'm just gonna keep it on warm as soon as it's done. Because I also like my noodles al dente, so I don't like them overcooked. It's really important. So as soon as we eat, I'll let you guys know what I think. It will be my first time ever having it. And then we will wrap up this video. Okay, so we're gonna taste test it now at the same time. My husband's tasting his as I taste mine. I'm trying to get a little bit of chicken in here. It's good.
Pretty good.
Now, it doesn't, I thought because it was super creamy that it might taste a little heavy, but it doesn't. It seems really light. What do you think?
Kind of light to medium.
Not as heavy as like a fettuccine.
Not too rich, but creamy enough.
Yeah, I like it. I think for a crock pot recipe, like I would have never, if I ate this at a restaurant and they made it in crock pot, I would never even know. And that's how good it is. I would say if you're working and you need to dump something in the crock pot, this probably wouldn't be it because it's, I mean, you could do it for longer, like 8 hours, or you could put it on the crock pot for 10 hours and then when you get home, throw in the pasta, so that could work. But I feel like because you're throwing the pasta in to cook in the crock pot, you have to be at home. My other only idea would be cook everything while you're at work, and then when you get home, just make the pasta on the stove and then just toss it with the sauce and the chicken. So that would work as well. But thumbs up, really good, we like it. So as soon as I'm done eating, I'll wrap up this video and let you guys know what I thought of all 3 recipes. Okay, so we just finished and wrapping it up. After I ate my first bowl, all I could think of was, although it was good, I feel like it was missing some zing. So when I was making it, I threw the dash of hot sauce, but I just like a little bit more spice. I thought the pepper jack cheese was gonna do it and it just wasn't enough. So my recommendation would be, if you're making this, to, if you like it spicy, add some crushed red pepper. Or I went to get seconds and I remembered that I had this stuff I bought at Trader Joe's and it's called crunchy chili onion, and it's in olive oil with dried garlic and peppers. So the crushed red peppers are in there, and I scooped some up and I put it on my pasta and it was much better to me. So that's just my preference. So if you like a little bit of spice in your pasta, I would recommend putting crushed red pepper or that. But otherwise, it is very, very good. I will definitely make this again. So I'm gonna finish up this year. I'm gonna finish up this video by saying Happy New Year. I hope you all have a wonderful 2024. Cheers to you and your families. I hope you come to my next video, and if you like this, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.